Attica Correctional Facility sits in western New York, built to confine and contain. It is known for violence, rebellion, and control. Less visible is what happens to men who never leave. This story is about those serving life sentences. It is about time. It is about how decades inside this prison reshape the mind. It is about how mental health declines slowly, predictably, and often without intervention. The focus is not on a single incident. It is on accumulation. Years stack on top of years, and damage becomes permanent. If stories like this matter to you, consider subscribing, because what happens next reveals how this system truly works. Men arrive at Attica from courts across New York State. Many are young adults. Some have prior mental health histories. Many do not. Intake screenings exist, but they are brief. They are designed to identify immediate risk, not long-term vulnerability. Lifers enter knowing they will not be released. Parole is not a realistic expectation. Clemency is rare. Appeals take years and usually fail. From the beginning, the future is closed. Attica is overcrowded for much of its modern history. Cells are small. Noise is constant. Privacy does not exist. The prison is old, with narrow tiers and poor ventilation. Sound travels. Shouting, metal, and alarms never fully stop. This environment does not change as years pass. For lifers, it becomes the only environment they know. Mental health care at Attica reflects broader policies in New York prisons during the late 20th century. Services are limited. Staffing is thin. Psychiatrists rotate. Therapy is brief and infrequent. Treatment prioritizes crisis management over long-term care. Chronic conditions receive medication, but monitoring is inconsistent. For men who deteriorate slowly, there is often no intervention at all. Lifers are not classified as people who will return to society. Rehabilitation programs focus on those with release dates. Educational opportunities exist, but access is uneven. Work assignments repeat year after year. Days blur together. Time loses structure. This lack of forward movement becomes a psychological stressor. As years pass, changes appear. Sleep patterns shift. Concentration weakens. Memory fades. Some men withdraw socially. Others become hypervigilant. Paranoia develops gradually. In a crowded, violent environment, constant alertness is adaptive at first. Over time, it becomes pathological. The mind remains on guard even when there is no immediate threat. Violence at Attica is not constant, but it is persistent. Fights break out. Assaults occur. Lockdowns follow. Each lockdown confines men to their cells for extended periods. Movement stops. Programs shut down. Meals come through slots. These disruptions are unpredictable. For lifers, they repeat across decades. Each one reinforces a sense of powerlessness. Hallucinations are reported by inmates serving long sentences. They describe hearing voices, seeing figures, or experiencing intrusive thoughts. These symptoms are documented in correctional mental health studies across the United States. At Attica, they are often addressed only when behavior becomes disruptive. The symptom matters less than its impact on order. Emotional numbness becomes common. Men describe feeling flat. Joy disappears. Anger dulls. Grief no longer registers normally. This is not resilience. It is shutdown. The brain adapts to constant stress by reducing emotional range. Over decades, this state hardens. Some lifers develop severe depression. Others develop anxiety disorders. Some experience psychosis. These conditions emerge slowly. There is no single breaking point. There is erosion. Mental health staff are more likely to see the final stage than the beginning. By then, recovery is unlikely. Disciplinary systems at Attica do not distinguish clearly between mental illness and misconduct. Rule violations trigger tickets. Tickets lead to segregation. Segregation worsens symptoms. This cycle repeats. A man who talks to himself may be cited for disorderly conduct. A man who refuses orders due to paranoia may be punished. Treatment becomes secondary to control. Solitary confinement exists at Attica, though policies shift over time. For lifers, time in isolation compounds existing damage. Even short periods increase anxiety and hallucinations. Research from New York oversight bodies confirms this effect. Yet segregation remains a standard response. Suicide attempts occur among lifers at Attica. They are documented in state records and investigative reports. These acts are often preceded by years of untreated decline. After an attempt, monitoring increases briefly. Then attention fades. The underlying conditions remain. Family contact diminishes over time. Parents die. Siblings drift away. Visits become rare. Phone calls shorten. For lifers, outside relationships decay. This loss removes a key protective factor against mental illness. Inside the prison, relationships are fragile and often transactional. Trust is risky. Isolation grows. Aging intensifies the crisis. Lifers grow old at Attica. Cognitive decline intersects with psychiatric symptoms. Dementia appears. Depression deepens. Physical illness adds stress. The prison environment does not adapt well to aging bodies or minds. Accessibility is limited. Medical care focuses on acute issues. Mental health evaluations often lag behind reality. Waiting lists form. Appointments are brief. Medication adjustments take time. Side effects are common. Some men stop taking prescribed drugs. Others are over-medicated to manage behavior. Individualized care is rare. Attica's history influences its present. The 1971 uprising leads to decades of heightened security. Control becomes a priority. Order matters. This culture affects how mental illness is perceived. Symptoms that disrupt routine are seen as threats. Quiet suffering remains invisible. Oversight bodies document deficiencies repeatedly. Reports from the New York State Commission of Correction and advocacy groups note inadequate mental health staffing. Lawsuits allege neglect. Settlements mandate changes. Implementation is slow. Conditions improve marginally, then stagnate. For lifers, time magnifies every failure. A misdiagnosis becomes permanent. A delayed intervention costs years. A disciplinary response replaces care again and again. The system does not plan for people who will be inside forever. It manages them day to day. Men who enter Attica mentally stable often do not remain so. This is not inevitable, but it is common. The environment exerts pressure continuously. Without meaningful treatment, the mind adapts in harmful ways. There is no recovery timeline. There is only duration. Some lifers become institutionalized to the point of dependency. Decision-making weakens. Initiative disappears. When routines change, distress spikes. Even positive changes cause anxiety. The world outside becomes abstract. The future feels unreal. Paranoia intensifies in crowded settings. Overhearing conversations fuels suspicion. Noise becomes threatening. In this state, misinterpretations multiply. Conflicts escalate. Discipline follows. The cycle tightens. Mental health staff face constraints. Caseloads are heavy. Turnover is high. Burnout is common. Continuity of care suffers. Lifers see different clinicians over the years. Records do not capture nuance. History fragments. Medication becomes the primary tool. It stabilizes some symptoms. It does not address the root causes. Therapy requires trust and time. Both are scarce. Group programs exist but are limited. Lifers often do not qualify. Over decades, identity erodes. A man becomes an inmate first and only. Personal history fades. Achievements outside prison lose relevance. This loss of self contributes to depression and detachment. Without an external role, purpose narrows. Attica's physical layout reinforces confinement. Long cell blocks stretch upward. Light is artificial. Outdoor access is limited and controlled. Seasonal changes barely register. Time passes without markers. Years feel the same. The prison responds to crises, not trajectories. A man shouting is seen. A man slowly withdrawing is not. By the time symptoms demand attention, damage is entrenched. At that point, the goal shifts from recovery to management. Legal frameworks do not require robust long-term mental health care for lifers. Standards focus on minimum adequacy. Courts intervene only when harm is extreme. Everyday deterioration does not meet the threshold. It continues unchallenged. Advocates argue that life sentences without meaningful mental health support constitute a form of psychological abandonment. Official policy does not use that language. It emphasizes security and compliance. Mental health remains secondary. Some lifers file grievances. Responses cite staffing limits and policy constraints. Appeals move slowly. Outcomes rarely change conditions. Hope diminishes with each denial. Cynicism replaces expectation. As decades pass, some men stop seeking help. They normalize distress. Symptoms become background noise. This resignation marks a final stage. The system interprets silence as stability. Death eventually ends the sentence. Many lifers die at Attica. Causes vary. The psychological toll is not listed on certificates. It remains undocumented. The mine's collapse leaves no official record. Attica becomes a place where men serve life sentences in body and mind. Psychological disappearance occurs gradually. It is not dramatic. It is routine. It happens while the institution functions as designed. This story is not about isolated abuse. It is about structure. It is about time applied without care. It is about a system that holds people indefinitely and offers minimal support as they unravel. The mental health crisis among lifers at Attica is ongoing. It does not end with reforms or reports. It persists as long as men are sentenced to die in prison without sustained treatment. What remains are individuals who entered intact and leave diminished, if they leave at all. Their decline is slow. It is predictable. It is largely ignored. Attica continues to operate. Lifers continue to age. The psychological cost continues to accumulate. This is not an accident. It is the result of design choices made and maintained over decades. If you think this story was intense, the next one will leave you speechless. Subscribe for more true crime stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.